Hello, Dr. Taiwo. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. It was so good to have you. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. Praise God. Yeah, so good to see you too.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
putting you on the off seat today,
Oh
just
wow.
what I did for Dr. Sean last week.
I see.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
you're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, viewers at home. This is another episode of Is Marriage Hard Work? On today's episode, I have Dr. Taiwo in the house who is going to be giving us his own piece of advice if marriage is actually a hard work. And this will be the second episode. If you missed the last week on, please go and watch it. And wherever part of the world you're watching from, welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday, Happy New Week. All right, Dr. Taiwo, back to you. Today's episode will be discussing about marriage. I would really like to know what you think about marriage. From my home perspective, I think marriage is a scam, but I will leave it to you to tell the viewers what you think marriage is all about. If marriage is actually, if it requires a lot of hard work, or if it is just something for the faint heart. We would like to hear from you today and share from your experience. And once again, thank you for joining me on today's episode. Over to you, Dr. Taiwo.
Anyway, thank you very much for having me. It's always a good thing to you know uh, hear about people's perspective about marriage, right?
Yes.
And sometimes I'm in marriage. I think to myself, am I the only one thinking this about marriage? Right. So it's good to see perspective, and you put your thought and experience in the context of other experiences, right?
Yes.
But I want to start off from where whether from what you mentioned, if to say, oh, is this my thing a scam? I kind of understand where you're coming from because I mean, people think, oh, I just want to get married and have this, fairy tale. Yeah. So if that is your intention, I think I can understand when you say that's a scam, right? Right.
Yes.
So marriage is really, really a journey that has to be intentional, right?
Wow.
It's about intentionally committing to one another.
Wow.
Yeah. That's my that it's a journey where two people have agreed that we are going. I don't want to go too spiritual. When the Bible says, "So shall a man leave," right? Leave his dad, his mom, his family, whatever, and join. So marriage is the first thing where when you're born, you don't get to decide your father, you don't get to decide your mom, right? So you see that on what underlines that intentionality. Your decision is a choice. You are making a choice. Marriage is a choice you make, right? Yes. So marriage is a choice you make, right? So when two people agree, the Bible says, can two walk together except they be agreed? So there have to be one, like I said, intentionality and agreement that are we ready to make things work, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and then so marriage has to start from that bedrock. Now, you ask, well, then where does love come to play? Of course, love is important in this thing, right? There has to be, something that attracts you to the other person, right? There's that's something to, start the spark, right? But I tell you, love alone, as strong as love alone is not enough. Love alone is so there has to be a commitment that I'm in this for a long haul. I got to make this work. And whenever you feel tired, trust me, it's gonna come because it's not gonna be a bed of roses. You go back to that reason and say, why did I get into here?
Wow.
This is why I am here, and that will keep you going forward.
Wow. Wow. That is a lot of word of wisdom from Dr. Taiwo in the space of like few minutes. So, from what you said, Dr. Taiwo, you said marriage, we got to make the choice of who we want to spend the
That's
rest
right.
of our life with.
That's right.
Then you also said we have to be intentional, that it requires both people being intentional.
Correct.
Then you also said that we have to be committed from what you said.
Correct.
That we have to be committed. So, what did you actually think about this perspective of, oh, marriage is a fairy tale? Because a lot of our young adults out there, they don't really know. I think we don't get to prepare them for what they are going into. Our parents just tell us, go bring your spouse, go bring your husband, go bring your wife, but they don't tell us the back detail about marriage. So when a lot of people come into marriage, they feel the shock. So can you please expatiate further on that and let us know your own opinion? Because I think marriage is not for the faint heart. Because whatever you say here, a lot of people are watching, they'll be able to pick one or two things, and also we have even the people that have been married for a long time. So what do you think?
That's right. I mean, you're right. We are all, in this world. We're under different kind of pressures, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, sometimes maybe you think, oh, my friends, they found the love of their life,
Yeah.
and maybe they are seeing that facade of, oh, the romantic, people, husband and wife holding hands together,
Yeah.
and they don't necessarily know what's behind or what's going in the house. And oh, I want to be like those couple, and that puts a pressure on somebody and say, oh, I want to get a husband or I want to get a wife, so I can be like those couple. Or even it could come from within our family, your mom, your dad. Oh, it's time to, those different kind of pressure, right?
Yeah.
And so that's really a recipe for disaster, right?
Wow.
Yeah, because I usually say these things, right? You need to, how do I put this? Having been married for not so long now, 12, 13 years, right?
That's a long
Yeah,
time. 18
yeah,
years.
yeah. I mean, we're still. But here's the point, though. You can never be prepared enough for marriage.
Wow.
It's good to prepare, don't get me wrong, but you always learn and learn, relearn, unlearn in marriage. That is a life journey of learning. You last year cannot be the same you this year, nor can you be the same person you next year.
Yes, yeah.
And that's you yourself, talk less of your wife.
Wow.
So you're managing the dynamics of two personalities. As if that's not enough,
Wow.
you are also managing the dynamics of the changing personalities.
Wow.
So that's why you have, like I said, you have to really have this goal that, okay, because you have that goal set in mind, you are able to manage these changing personalities and then to get to that goal. And that's where the work comes in.
Wow.
That's where the work comes in. That's where you need to work hard and say, you know what? Take a look to go back to the why you got together and see how you can manage this to work. Marriage, I don't want to scare you all there who are still married, who are still single. Really, it's not for the faint-hearted, right?
Wow.
It's not for the faint-hearted. It's not, if you're having this fantasy about, oh, marriage is gonna be, oh, this, I'm gonna have this Mr. Right or Miss Right or whatever. Maybe that will last, maybe, I don't know, first few days, first few months. I mean, but life sets in, right? And then the question you ask yourself, when all these, spark is gone, what is left? When all this, initial fire, initial ignition has gone, what else is left? That's when you now fall back to the commitment, to the inner strength, and say, okay, how can we make this work? So marriage is really, really a hard work.
Wow, wow, Dr. Taiwo, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick you up on what you said. So you said, even for someone like, let me use myself as an example, that I have to evolve every year, depending on the situations of life, because life itself is hard.
Correct.
So now coming into marriage, I have to manage myself. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
I have to be able to manage my spouse,
Yeah,
and I have to be able to manage all the changes that is going on around me.
Correct.
And even when situation comes that makes the love to fade away, I have to know the why.
Correct.
The main reason, the main goal that actually brought me into the marriage in the first place. The marriage that I chose, because you said you choose marriage. When your parents give back to you, you don't choose your parent, but you choose the person you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Correct.
Wow, Dr. Taiwo. I think this marriage of a thing is a scam. I think it's not for the faint-hearted, because this requires a lot of work. I think we have to put a lot of emotional work, a lot of strength, and also to make sure that it works. Because you just said that you can't rely on the fantasy. And the way you even talk is as if But when someone gets married, you can get weary or tired along the line as the marriage progresses. So we have to know the why. We have to know the reason why we choose the person in the first instance. That's all you're saying.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, to just elaborate, I don't know. I overheard. I think some young fellas discussing and saying, you know what, you don't have to. I think somebody was in a good with good intentions, right? Advising the other
Other
person
person.
and say, oh, why do you have to go, you know, pay to enjoy a time with a woman? I don't know if you know what I mean,
Yeah,
right? Why do
yeah.
you have to go pay? Why can't you just get
Okay.
married and then you just enjoy yourself for free?
Oh my God.
Although his intention was good, right?
That's
Yes,
a
no, no, I'm
fantasy.
married.
That's a fantasy.
To enjoy your marriage is never ever free. It takes work. It takes
Wow.
dedication. It takes
Wow.
intentionality. It
Wow.
takes whether in where any way you want to in all sense of it, whether in the in the bedroom or whatever anything is, you have to work for it. In fact, that's when because you have to find new ways, creative ways to keep your husband happy, to keep your wife attracted to you, all those kind of things. So it's a lifelong commitment and dedication to hard work to always win your spouse over and over again.
Dr. Taiwo, I hope you don't scare our viewers at all because what you're saying in essence now is that it is a long time commitment. You have to keep putting the work into it to make sure the marriage works.
Correct.
Wow. Viewers at home, we're going to leave this to you. From all what Dr. Taiwo said today, he said marriage, you have to choose the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. And also, it takes a long time commitment of work dedication to make sure the marriage works. Anyway, Dr. Taiwo, I think this marriage of a thing is a scam. I think I think it's not for the faint
I
heart.
know, I know, I
I
know.
think it's not for the faint heart. Anyway,
Yeah, I agree with you.
yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's not marriage could only be a fairy tale for 2 months or whatever, the
Wow.
honeymoon phase.
Wow. Wow.
Everything else is, like you said, a scam in the sense of what people think the picture of marriage is and what it really is.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
marriage in that sense, it's not. It doesn't fit that picture at all.
Wow, wow. So, viewers at home, we have Dr. Taiwo today on the show, and he's able to tell us his own perspective about marriage. And he told us that marriage actually requires a hard work. What do you think? Let me know what you think. But I still think marriage is not for the faint heart. Anyway, it's been wonderful having you today on this wonderful edition of another episode of Is Marriage a Hard Work? And Dr. Taiwo was my guest on today's show. We will see you next time, same time. And until next time, please enjoy your week and keep safe. Thank you so much, Dr. Taiwo.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming. I hope I didn't put you on the hot seat.
Yeah, thank you. No, no. Thanks for having me. I'll have to have this discussion any day, anytime.
Any day, anytime.
Yeah, we'll learn until we die.
Yeah, maybe when next we bring Dr. Taiwo, we'll have to bring Dr. Taiwo with his wife so that we can hear her whole perspective also.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, sir. I
Thank you.
really, really
Thanks
appreciate
for having
you
me. Thanks for having me.
with us. Thank you. All right, viewers at home, we'll see you next week. I love you all. Bye for now.